Hello everybody and welcome to this video. In this video I want to talk about habits and systems and just practices I implemented to have a fulfilled minimalist life and also to stay minimalist. Just things that help me with my minimalist lifestyle, that make it easier for me and more enjoyable. If you're new here, my name is Leah. I upload videos about sustainability and minimalism. So if you're interested in these topics, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. And now let's get started with the first thing I do to ensure that I live a happy minimalist lifestyle. I try to have a mental filter in my apartment door. That means that I have a filter in place that only allows things into my home, new items into my home that add value to my life. Now, I've talked about this theory or this way of looking at minimalism in another video that I will link you up here, but I think it's very practical just to envision that barrier, that checklist that a thing has to do in order to enter your home. That especially goes for things that are for free, that somebody gives to you, that are not expensive, that you end up somehow bringing into your home. I try to really make sure that everything that enters my home does add value to my life, because even if things are free, they a lot of times are not really free, because even though you don't pay money for it, maybe you have to care for it, and in the end you have to declutter it if it's not really something that brings value to your life. I'm totally aware that sometimes I bring things into my home that later I need to declutter, but I try to minimize these things, or just to be very careful with what I let into my life, to then not have that many things I have to care for and declutter and find a solution for when I decide that I don't need them anymore. The next thing I really do to ensure that I only have things in my life that make me happy and that my minimalist lifestyle works for me is envisioning where I want to be. Now that does not have to be like a great end goal. You don't have to be able to envision your perfect lifestyle or be super clear on where you want to be in 5 years. I think that a lot of times is very difficult, and I've struggled with that before, but I just try to really think about what adds value, what makes me happy, what does give me resources, energy, and happiness, instead of draining me, making me feel stressed and things like that. So by knowing where I want to go, by knowing the values I have, by knowing the purpose of how I want to live, it is so much easier to say no to things that do not add value to my life, because it is only really possible to say no if you know what you want to say yes to. And so it is maybe a bit too complicated to share my whole reasoning of what I want to have, what I do not want to have, but just in general, my values are living a sustainable life that benefits me and the people around me, trying to be open, honest, and contributing to a better world. Now that sounds maybe big and unachievable or something like that, but I just try to make sure to protect my energy, to not invite clutter into my life, to nourish my body, to nourish my mind when it comes to things like that. I do watch too many YouTube videos, I think. So I do also allow myself to just chill out and watch YouTube videos sometimes, but I just try with everything that I invite into my life. I want it to be something that is beneficial to me in order to make it possible for me to contribute to that world I want to see around me, in order for me to be living a sustainable lifestyle and have time and resources for the people around me as well. And that is really something that helps with everything that comes next. Now the next thing I do, the third thing, is really always thinking, when I invite a product, something I need to do, just something into my life that takes some of my money, space, energy, time, I try to think of it as, is the existence of that thing in my belongings, in my home, in my mind, really more valuable than the space I would have if I did not have it? Does it help me so much that I'd rather have it, but I have to clean, maintain, declutter, move with it? Is it really more valuable than just having the space, having the freedom, not having that thing? that really, I think, is super powerful, and a lot of times we don't even think about the space we have if we do not have things. We just think a thing is a thing, and if it's not there, then there's nothing. But there is actually more time, more money, more space, more freedom. And so I really try to think about that balance and think about if I had that item, if I would be more happier than just having the space and all the other resources when I don't need to buy it, or I don't have it and have to be responsible for that thing. That also really helps with the fourth thing I do, which is no impulse buying. Now, as a person, I tend to either impulse buy or wait for too long until the thing solves itself magically. So I think it could definitely happen that I have a great idea and then I think like I immediately have to make it happen. I immediately have to buy that thing. I immediately have to figure out a solution, make it happen. And so it could happen that I would just impulse buy all the things that I think I need and realize later that maybe my idea was not that great, or maybe it was not the perfect solution because I did not give it enough thought. And on the other hand, it has happened a lot of times that I just end up not buying it. Now, while that maybe seems a bit sad if you're like thinking so much about it and then end up not buying it because you thought too much about it, it is also sustainable and it is also minimalist and you don't have to deal with it. But that's not what I encourage you to do. I encourage you to just not buy something right away. I think there are a few rules on how long you should wait, but I think some that are very practical are wait for at least 24 hours if you see something you want to have. Also, you can add it to your cart if you're online shopping and only visit your cart once a week and buy everything that you still want to have. Like you put on the go while you are shopping, while you are seeing things, you can add them to your cart. And then a week later, if you look at your cart, you will realize you have so many things in there that you just actually don't want to have. Also really think about, is it worth the money? That is a big one because I don't have a huge budget. If you want to know how much I exactly make and spend, I will link you the video up here where I like show all my YouTube analytics, how I make money, explain what I spent my money on. And so I really stopped impulse buying. One, because I realized that a lot of times if I buy something, later I will realize that it wasn't that important of a thing, so I did not actually want to have it, or it was not a wise decision just buying it right away. And also because it's usually less expensive if I just wait because I won't buy certain things. It's more sustainably because sometimes I find out a good solution and I'm just overall more happy like that, because a lot of things that I thought I wanted are really not that important anymore. If you want, I will share a list with you where I wrote down a bunch of things that I wanted at some point and later realized that I don't actually need them. I think that would be a good video idea. Let me know if you would be interested in watching that video. And then the fifth thing is a very obvious thing. It is just I declutter on a regular basis. I am strongly against like wandering through your home, looking for things you could still declutter, restlessly searching for things just to have that good feeling of I achieved getting rid of certain things. I do like to declutter just on a regular basis after a certain amount of time to go through my whole house and see what things there are that I don't actually need. And I also like to just declutter on the go. Like whenever I open a drawer and realize, oh, I haven't worn that thing for the longest time, or I haven't used that. Actually, I don't like that kitchen knife, whatever thing it is. Actually, that's something that I'm now doing unconsciously, I think. Like whenever I'm using something, whenever I'm going somewhere in my home, whenever I pick things up, whenever I tidy or clean, I do think about what these things that I'm cleaning, that I'm maintaining, that I'm using mean to me in my life. And so I will immediately realize if something that I'm using is actually unnecessary. Now, again, I encourage you to not like try to minimize as much as possible just for the sake of owning less, because I don't think that will make us happy in the long run. But I do encourage you to question it, to think about which items actually add value to our lives. Because in the end, our lives will change. We will not go through one declutter and be done with it forever. Because our lives change, we need to adapt and we need to change and we need to reevaluate what we need in the current phase of our lives. So I think it is super normal, even as a minimalist, to sometimes buy things, to sometimes replace things, to sometimes even upgrade things, if you realize that that would actually add a lot of value in the long term. But I also think it's normal to not stop decluttering. I want to warn you from the cycle of constantly decluttering and buying new things just because it feels good, the decluttering feels good, the buying feels good. That is a waste of money, it's not sustainable, and it won't make you happy in the long run. But I think that's a problem that only a few of us face. I try to be very mindful and very intentional when it comes to that, so that I can live a happy life in my home without the urge to always declutter, without the urge to always buy new things, but actually in order to be able to think less about my things, to see them as tools that help me do the things that I want to do, but to not be too focused, to not be too worried, to not spend too much money, energy, or time on the things, because they are not that important. Let me know what the things are that you do to keep your minimalist lifestyle minimalist, to make sure it makes you happy and to make sure you are living a fulfilled life, going into the right direction you want to go with whatever plans you have in your life. I hope you like this video, and if you want to see more, I link you a video and a playlist right here that you can click if you want to watch even more videos right now, and I also hope to see you in my next video. Bye!